Did former President Trump just hand special prosecutor, or special counsel Jack Smith a massive win? Tyrone Bowman live. Welcome to the program on tonight. For everyone who has subscribed to this channel, I appreciate your subscription. Thank you very much. And let's get down to the essence of this story. According to the New Republic, did Donald Trump just make Jack Smith's job that much easier by admitting that he knows he lost the 2020 election? You know, sometimes we can say a lot of things and call ourselves being smarter than the average person in the room, and then really start telling on ourselves at the same time. During a speech Wednesday in Mint Hill, North Carolina, Trump appeared to give up the game when speaking about his performance 4 years ago. "We did much better, by the way, in the election of 2020 than we did in 2016, quote, close quote, Trump said. "Millions and millions of voters, more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country. There's that massive, out of control, overinflated ego. He got more votes than anybody." Trump said this election denying claim isn't true, because Trump got roughly 74 million votes, while President Joe Biden got 81 million. Those are the stipulated facts, unquestionable, irrefutable facts. But they beat us by a whisker. They beat us by a little whisker. Trump said he beat us from the basement. Quote, close quote. Well, in the world of professional sports, whether you're playing basketball, soccer, hockey, football, tennis, if you beat your opponent by 1 point, your opponent lost. You don't have to have a huge margin to win a football game. When a team is going to the Super Bowl, to find out who are going to be the NFL champions, it doesn't matter if you win by a huge margin or by a field goal. A win is a win. Of course, it's important to know that pretty much every time Trump opens his mouth, his words are admissible in court. So admitting that he didn't win the election could potentially hurt the former president in court, specifically in his election interference case in Washington, D.C., where special counsel Smith is seeking to prove that Trump knew he lost the 2020 election, but still tried to overturn the results. Trump said he lost the 2020 election by a whisker before doing an interview earlier this month with podcaster Lex Friedman. "We had a man in there that should have never been in there," Trump said, speaking about Biden. "They kept him in a basement. They used COVID. They cheated. They cheated. They cheated. They used COVID to cheat. They cheated. They cheated. They cheated us without COVID too." Nobody cheated during the election. You just lost. That's the bottom line. You lost the election. Moments later, the former president claimed he had lost by a whisker in 2020. But after his interview, Trump claimed he was just joking. "I did that sarcastically," he said. "All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislature for approval. I got almost 75 million votes. Almost don't count. The most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which is what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten." You know what? He just makes shit up as he goes along. Despite the obvious confusion, Trump's little joke caused the former president has decided that loss by a whisker will be part of the hot air he intends to blow on the campaign trail, and that it's meaning like everyone else. And while I'm here, I think I'll read a couple other stories that are making the headlines. Let's talk about Judge Chutkan reminds Trump who's in charge. So according to MSNBC, U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan sided with special counsel Jack Smith on Tuesday when she said he can file a longer than unusual brief in the forthcoming immunity litigation. But in addition to granting the government's arguably administrative request, the judge also rejected a handful of complaints that Donald Trump's lawyers raised in connection with the motion. In granting Smith's plea for more pages, he said his opening immunity brief could be 180 pages. Chutkin observed in her written opinion that the former president's opposition to Smith's request comprised a single statement that the government's request would quadruple the standard page limits in this district. The rest of Trump's 9-page opposition, she wrote, rehashes defendant's position that immunity briefing should not begin until he files a motion to dismiss several months from now. However, Chutkin reiterated her rejection of Trump's position in her opinion. She noted that having prosecutors file their opening briefing, which thanks to her ruling can now be longer than the typical 145 pages, reflects the case's unusual procedure where the trial court has been directed by the Supreme Court to accept partly submissions and make specific determinations about the nature of the allegations. Quote, another way to read her explanation is the judge saying, it's not my fault the Supreme Court issued this crazy immunity ruling. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to move forward. The Obama appointee likewise brushed aside Trump's claims that Smith's forthcoming brief arguing against immunity would represent something incredible, unusual, or even untoward. It is simply how litigation works, she wrote, or that the impending election is a relevant consideration. On the latter point, Chutkin wrote that the Republican presidential nominee's concern with the political consequences of these proceedings does not bear on her pre-trial schedule. The judges elsewhere, in her opinion, blasted the incoherence of Trump's litigation position and chided the unsupported nature of the defense's stance. The former president has pleaded not guilty in the federal case alleging he tried to criminally subvert the 2020 election he lost to Joe Biden. So even though this motion about brief length isn't the most consequential one in the federal election interference case, Chutkin's opinion represents the latest assertion of her authority over the matter. So she's ruling in the same way his Republican appointee judges that he put on the bench, they ruled for him, she's ruling against him. Deal with it. At the same time, it represents a reminder that her control is subject both to a higher judicial review and to vanishing entirely. The Supreme Court will still have the last word over however she resolves the substance of the immunity issue. That resolution won't come before the election, and she'll likely lose control over the case forever if Trump wins that election and gets it dismissed. That is the most arguable point that people have to understand. Trump only wants to be president for one reason and one reason only. So he can shut down every investigation. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, Trump called himself trying to reach the Latino community, and he ended up insulting them instead. So in this opinion, written by MSNBC, by Julio Ricardo Varela, he's an MSNBC opinion columnist. The headline reads, Trump's new pitch to Latinos is predictably insulting. He and his campaign are looking silly at best and dangerous at worst. In his play for Latino voters, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is running the risk that whatever Latino support he's assembled will crumble in the final weeks of the campaign. He and his campaign are looking silly at best and dangerous at worst. Let's start with the silly. In his quest for more celebrity endorsements for reggaeton stars, Trump misgendered Nicki Jam at a Las Vegas rally Friday. Latin music superstar Nicki Jam, do you know Nicki? She's hot, Trump said. Only when the music superstar, who's a man, walked onto the stage. Did Trump notice his mistake? Oh, look, I'm glad he came up, the former president said. Despite the awkward moment, Jam eventually proclaimed in Spanish that it's been 4 years and nothing has happened. We need Trump. Let's make America great again. It was yet another instance of Trump insulting a Latino endorser before receiving their praise. A few weeks ago in Pennsylvania, Trump told Puerto Rico rapper I knew AA. I don't know if these people know who the hell you are, but it's good for the Puerto Rican vote. Every Puerto Rican is going to vote for Trump right now. We'll take it. What a mitigated, narcissistic gull here. He just automatically assumes that everybody loves him. Everybody's going to vote for him. Everybody's going to bow down to him. Like he's the only person in the room. Ignoring the shot at his popularity, Anu called Trump the best president the world has seen, this country has ever seen, and urged Puerto Ricans to unite and vote for Trump. And we'll see how well that works. Many of Jam's Latino fans, however, were clearly not voting for Trump. Jam deleted his Instagram endorsement after so many online comments blasted him. So it really wasn't an endorsement. If you deleted it, then you didn't mean it when you endorsed him. If you endorsed the man, you should stand by your endorsement. Because your Latino supporters will stop supporting you if you keep talking about how much you are MAGAite and how much you love Trump. The legendary Mexican rock band Mana announced it will remove a 2016 song collaboration with Jam from music streamers, saying on Instagram that Mana does not work with racists. Jam also heard it from Dreamers, who called him out for what they said was his hypocrisy. After publicly supporting undocumented youth just 7 years ago, now Jam was backing a presidential candidate who openly calls for the largest deportation in U.S. history. As one immigrant rights activist texts me, it all feels like a betrayal. That sense of treachery from MAGA supporting superstars in the Latino community is no surprise. There are indeed Latinos moving to the extreme right based on the same benefits or beliefs others extreme supporters espouse. Still at a time when Trump and Republicans continue to call all migrants as criminals, not worthy of being in this country, such rhetoric feels directed at any Latino living in this country. That brings us to the dangerous side of conservatives' chaotic strategy. With Hispanic Heritage Month in full swing, a new Spanish language ad from a Trump ally group warns U.S. Latinos that while citizens have a right to vote, they should be aware that non-citizens cannot. The ad even stresses that non-citizens risk getting arrested for committing a federal crime, even though, as the Berean Center notes, such a crime is vanishing rare. Well, how about this? How many Republicans got caught illegally voting during the election? Thousands of them. Forging signatures. How many of them got caught trashing people's ballots and throwing them in the trash? Thousands of them. How many of them got caught trying to tell people they couldn't vote for Biden? Thousands of them. They are some corruptible, lying people. Forget about being bad, they're just horrible. This commercial could only have been made by people entirely out of touch with Latino voters. People who are sure that all Latinos in the U.S. are surrounded by non-citizens. Read the 2024 Republican platform with its emphasis on mass deportation. And you will likely walk away with the impression that all U.S. Latinos are foreign non-citizens. Y'all can vote for him and he will betray you. The data, of course, could prove that wrong, as Pew Research noted just last week, for example. 3 out of every 10 Latino newlyweds are married to non-Latinos, with 41% of those new brides and grooms born in this country. That data slice tells a story of a changing demographic that is more English dominant and crossing cultures. Painting Latinos as foreign invaders is a dehumanizing tactic and part of an unofficial political campaign. The country's Latino community is an integral part of the permanent fabric of this country, and the way Trump and Republicans continue to insist otherwise is insulting and politically dangerous. But because Trump is Trump, and his Latino strategies are bankrupt on ideas that will help Latino communities, this is likely what Latinos can expect till the election. Double tongue, double talk. There's no indication the hostile rhetoric will stop or that he'll bother to learn who the Latinos who endorse him are, because he does not care. That's why. The sense of Latino community betrayal will be there, and each day it will likely bring another old idea that won't stick to the wall. For instance, after the Nikki Jam mess and the non-citizen voting ad, the Trump campaign published a video in which the former president, in the words of El Pattis English, seems to dance to the rhyme of a well-known salsa song from the 1990s that no longer says Juliana que mala. Eres, Juliana, you're so bad, but rather Kamala, que mala eres. You know, he's really a jackass, seriously. Ugh. You know, in closing, it's not a new strategy. In 2020, a Spanish language song about voting for Trump from a Miami-based salsa band became a social media smash. Back then, many Latinos questioned the judgment. Trump lost the election. And he's going to lose this election as well. Never surrender, never quit.